All right, I'm wearing a work shirt, I'm in a college shirt, whatever, ignore it. I just got off work, but I need to come home and immediately talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Even though I'm a few days late on the subject, I should have gotten this video out over the weekend, but I didn't want you to be distracted. You need to spend the weekend with your family, with your friends, and more importantly, getting your ass to a fucking movie theater and watching Deadpool and Wolverine. So before I get into this video, we're going to have spoilers. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe. It really means a lot. It helps a lot. This is probably going to go right through the green screen. It's my diet soda, but don't worry about that. But before we get into like everything as far as Deadpool and Wolverine, there's going to be spoilers in here. I'm also not going to be talking about Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. I might touch on that in a later video, but for this video, strictly talking about Deadpool and Wolverine because that is the thing that I want to talk about the most. It is no short of, and I use this title, I throw it around a lot. You can decide if it's clickbait or not. I'm not going to be that guy to say that it is. It kind of is, but this movie is actually incredible. Not too long ago, I made a video where I think the title of it was called, "Is Deadpool and Wolverine Going to Save the MCU?" It was either after a couple of the leaked photos or after the first teaser trailer. I can't quite remember what I made it after, but no matter what, the topic of that video was talking about, will this movie and the projects that are coming be the catalyst or the ones that are going to revitalize the MCU that, let's face it, is at its probable low point? I would say since Spider-Man No Way Home, probably, I think that was in December of 21, the MCU has failed to strike and grasp and hold the attention of the audience in a very big way. And I guess it sort of did that with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but that movie ended up not being what people wanted, even though I think if you go back and you watch that movie without a certain level of expectations, you'll find that that movie's actually pretty dang good. It's really Marvel's fault, or I don't know where the notion came that it was going to be, you know, a big cameo, you know, fan service fest, but I guess maybe the thought process was that was the first like we had into this new multiverse saga, and you would think that they would want to stick the landing big, but since then I can't think of a project off the top of my head that has really attracted the audience of these movies and then retain them and have continued to talk about them. I mean, Moon Knight got some attention before it died immediately after the first episode's release. There's a lot of projects that laughed at the MCU. But yeah, I don't think that we got exactly what we were looking for. And I know it's a very grandiose thing to say that a movie can save an entire universe or series. Like, will Deadpool and Wolverine save the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Even though the Marvel Cinematic Universe was struggling, it's not like they were going bankrupt, you know? They always had these projects that were coming out in the future. It makes sense that after you just finish Endgame that you're going to take some time to reset and kind of step away and kind of build things back up. Maybe it's just not as bad as we thought it was, but the quality of the projects were coming out were certainly not to the standards that they needed to be. However, am I upset that they weren't these grandiose movies? No, I think that those expectations are too high, but let's not pretend like just because they weren't going bankrupt that things were going well, because they weren't in terms of quality. However, do I think that this movie is the starting off point to retain the audience and keep it going and being the catalyst for something interesting in the future at a higher level that I mean, really the only project that I can think of is Loki that was able to do that, but that did that through really just phenomenal writing, and I'm really happy that Loki became what it was. But as far as like cinematic movies, does this save the MCU? Does it knock us back on track? I think it probably does, at least for now. I know like another common sentence or another common phrase of this movie is what the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to be. That's not like an incorrect thing to say. Like, while I don't think Multiverse of Madness is necessarily as bad as people, were saying that it is, was this movie a really well-written film with characters that we love that had great fan service moments and great cameos or whatever? It absolutely is. And I know, like, the term fan service gets a bad rap these days. I think that's ridiculous. A movie should want to provide what the fans are looking for, and the fans are looking for stories with characters that they love and want to see on the big screen. So, like, Spider-Man No Way Home being a lot of fan service, Loki being a lot of fan service, Deadpool and Wolverine being a lot of fan service. Seeing Deadpool and bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, that's fan service. All the cameos that are in this movie, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, Blade, you had X-23 coming back, you had all the old X-Men characters, you had Happy Hogan, you had all the fourth wall breaks, you had Channing Tatum as Gambit, you had all these cameos and all these fan service moments, and for some reason there's a select amount of people in the world who say that's a bad thing. It's not. You shouldn't, like, a movie shouldn't have to apologize for giving fans what they want. Even movies that get super into the fan service, side of things, I understand where, like, the concern can come that the story will suffer because of it. That's not the case here at all with Deadpool and Wolverine. I actually struggle to think of MCU movies where they're big fan servicey movies that struggle with the plot. Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't have that issue. This movie certainly doesn't have that issue. Multiverse of Madness, that main weakness of that film was it probably wasn't fan servicey as we thought it was going to be. Even though it still was. The plot of that movie wasn't lacking. The visuals of that film wasn't... Alright, that's a lie. The CGI was a little wonky in that film, especially with the fucking eye on his forehead. That looked terrible. But the CGI in this film isn't perfect all the way around. While there are some insanely, incredibly looking moments in storytelling and fan service moments, this movie's not perfect, sure. But Deadpool and Wolverine, from the moment it starts, it's incredible. It pays homage to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. It pays homage to Loki, because it brings back the TVA. Have a show that everybody loves. It pays homage to the entire Fox universe that came before it for all of its faults, but as well as all of its benefits as well. Ryan Reynolds cares. Hugh Jackman cares. Sean Levy cares. And I understand that we just got told that the Russo brothers are going to be directing Endgame, or Doomsday, I guess, and Infinity, or Secret Wars. Jesus. Well, I don't hate that. Like, I love the Russo brothers. I was under the impression that this new era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was going to be ushered in by new talent. And if that was going to be the case, I figured that Sean Levy was going to be the perfect person to do that. I thought that this movie was his... this is kind of like his application to do Secret Wars with the Loki writers. That's what I would have really loved to see. And I understand that that's not happening anymore, maybe because of the Jonathan Majors thing or whatever, that they needed to kind of shoot for the stars a little bit there. But Sean Levy did a phenomenal job. This film looks great. Everybody who's in this film did phenomenal. Ryan Reynolds, of course, Hugh Jackman, of course. Their dynamic is incredible. You can feel their friendship in real life through the screen. And it just, like, this movie is made for a good time. It doesn't need to be anything, like, sometimes all you need is a good time. Fan service, cameos, great character writing, great characters. You just need a good time sometimes. This movie had fucking Henry Cavill play Wolverine for a split second. They showed you the Hulk versus Wolverine fight for a little bit, not too much. I mean, they didn't really fight. I guess the Hulk just kind of knocked him into a tree. But still, we love seeing those moments. Why is that a bad thing? It's incredible. We should want to see more of that. And I'm happy that we got it as much as we did in this movie, because this movie is going to make an unbelievable amount of money. It's great for the MCU. And it's great for the audience who are watching it, because you're going to see that because it's something that we love and enjoy. Makes me very happy to see. Do I think that this is going to jumpstart us into a great era of Marvel Cinematic Universe content? I think so. Doomsday is only 2 years away, which that gives me concerns in its own right, because I don't feel like we have a lot of time to build with that. Even though Endgame was a really long time ago. But regardless, we got Fantastic Four coming up. That will be a launch right into Doomsday and right into Secret Wars. They're making the Daredevil shows. That's very exciting. Obviously, X-Men 97 just absolutely killed it, and they're greenlit Season 2 and Season 3 of that show, so we're going to be getting more of that. I'm happy that we're going into an era, quality over quantity. And I'm very excited to see where they go with this. Because, of course, everybody's going to be in Secret Wars and Doomsday, and that's probably where we're going to say goodbye to a lot of our favorite characters. I wonder if Ryan Reynolds sticks around for even after that as Deadpool. I think that would be a good idea. But also, if he sticks around, you can't do Hugh Jackman as Wolverine anymore, because I'm sure Secret Wars is his last hurrah in the suit. Things to look at. But yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine's absolutely incredible. You should watch it if you haven't already. I definitely recommend checking it out. Leave what you thought about the movie in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, no matter how much we argue over boxing and combat sports on Forever Talking, I will always love everybody on this channel who cared enough to watch the video. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, go check it out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, adios, bye-bye.